Hi, this is Greg Gust with the National Weather Service in Grand Forks with an update on the Christmas holiday winter storm, again expected for December 25th and 26th of 2016. We are expecting significant impacts with this storm across much of the tri-state area. Holiday travel should be impacted with that, especially on Sunday and into Monday. First responders could have some issues traveling in this, and of course power outages are possible with the very high winds expected to develop. First of all, heavy snow, low visibilities, and of course very strong winds are expected from central into eastern North Dakota and up into northern Minnesota. Icy roads, high winds expecting to impact central parts and southern parts of the Red River Valley and down into west central Minnesota and the southern parts of northwest Minnesota as well. The big question remains, how much ice, how much wind, how far north will that ice extend? So we'll address some of those here today. First of all, the significant impacts. We do expect very heavy snowfall, and this graphic is now from the official forecast package on this Friday afternoon, and we do have an expectation. As you can see, the yellow area, yellow into brown, that is an area of heavy snow in excess of 6 inches, and you see areas of 8 inches to a foot over a much broad area from Valley City up through Grand Forks into Roseau, areas of a foot to 18 inches or more extending back into the Devil's Lake Basin. So that is, again, that yellow area, the area expect the heaviest snowfall and the highest likelihood of very strong winds and blizzard conditions. So that area will likely proceed from a blizzard watch into a blizzard warning shortly. Meanwhile, that area in blue is the area where less snowfall is expected, but more rain, freezing rain, and sleet accumulations. So with that, significant ice issues are most likely in the area from Fargo up through Bemidji and extending down into southeast North Dakota and west central Minnesota areas. So those areas could see a tenth to a quarter of an inch of ice accumulating on flat surfaces, lesser amounts on tree branches, tree limbs, and power lines. They could also see quarter of an inch to half an inch of sleet in some of those areas. So be aware of that. Timing and impacts. So this map shows the progression of the low pressure system now on Sunday morning. So that's about 6 o'clock Sunday morning with a frontal boundary starting to slide up from eastern South Dakota into the area. Those red arrows are showing the wind direction changing from southeast to a more easterly bend through the day as that low approaches. And with that, the onset of conditions first in the southern part of the Red River Valley and Basin and extending up across west central into northwest Minnesota. But from 6 a.m. to noon, freezing rain, drizzle, sleet. An ice storm is possible in that area. So onset from southeast North Dakota into west central Minnesota during that forenoon hours of Sunday. Those are the brown areas turning into tan. Later, through the course of the day, now we're going to see heavy snow onset across western North Dakota, central North Dakota earlier in the day, but from noon to 6 p.m. we'll see that area developing into east central and northeast North Dakota and up into northern Minnesota as well. So those are the dark blue areas going into the light blue areas on this map. Treacherous travel will begin during those time periods on Sunday. And later on, this map now showing 6 o'clock Monday morning with a low pressure system centered in north central Minnesota. And with that, the winds now across northwest Minnesota and eastern North Dakota, turning out of the north to northwest and increasing in speed with that very tight pressure gradient. So Sunday night into Monday, we expect heavy snow continuing. That's 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday. Strong winds now from the northeast becoming northwesterly on Monday morning over a broad area and increasing to blizzard force intensity. So blizzard impacts with that heavy snow, with drifting, with blowing snow, mainly in the Red River Valley and westward into eastern North Dakota, still into central North Dakota at that time. Midnight through midday on Monday, that blizzard is very likely. Depending on how much snow occurs further into southeast North Dakota and further into west central Minnesota, we'll see if that blizzard also affects those areas. Wind will still be an issue. all the way down into southeast North Dakota, all the way into west central Minnesota. So on the day Monday, as that low moves further eastward, those winds are going to push across northern Minnesota and extend down into west central Minnesota as well. Travel will be very limited through the day on Monday. Power issues could develop with power lines being affected by the wind and some of the ice that may have accumulated on them. There will be time later in the day on Monday where snow and winds will start to drop off over the North Dakota and South Dakota area, still persisting into Minnesota through much of the late afternoon and evening. In review, this winter storm is expected to bring impacts in multiple ways, with heavy snow most likely, again, 6 inches or more over a very wide area, but a foot or more over a very wide area as well. Mixed ice, sleet, snow, more likely in the southern part of the Red River Valley, and then eastward into the Bemidji, Fergus Falls, Park Rapids areas, and south. That'll begin a bit earlier on Sunday morning and then persist into midday on Sunday before finally changing to snow. There is the likelihood of a blizzard, first of all, up into western, central North Dakota, then up into northeast North Dakota, northern Minnesota, through the day on Sunday and into Sunday evening, developing and then persisting into Monday. Those blizzard conditions could extend even further southward into southeast North Dakota, west central Minnesota, depending on snow amounts. Heavy snow, ice storms, blizzards, whatever is in the air for you, make sure that you're prepared now. Travel with a winter survival kit in your vehicle at all times. Make alternate plans as needed to address this pending weather situation, and be prepared not to travel during these significant storm periods. Always wear or have with you appropriate clothing for these winter conditions. And then stay tuned, because this forecast will change as we progress closer and closer to that time period. And check with your trusted information sources for these updates.